40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is a conscious communication coach leadership, as well as the author of the book, The Art of Conscious Communication. No other than Mr. Jam Fuller.
Hey Daniel, how you doing?
I'm fabulous, fabulous Mr. Jam, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I live in Australia. My beautiful partner and I are a blended family. We have four, well, not really children, 21, 19, 18, and 15-year olds. And I work down here in Australia as an executive leadership coach, but also a retreat facilitator. We run retreats in the Himalayan mountains in India and also in Bali and Australia. And I have online courses as well. And I'm a published author. We've got my first book there, and the second book is currently being written.
Congratulations, Mr. Jam Fuller, for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. How do you distinguish conscious communication from everyday conversation?
Well, when we are more conscious of anything, really, we're more aware of it. So quite often we're in communication, we're in a conversation and we're not aware of where we're getting in the way or when we're getting defensive, or sometimes we're not aware of what the other person is really trying to say. We're not understanding each other. And we're certainly not aware of the higher good of the conversation, the communication. So more conscious communication just means being more aware of yourself and the other person or people, and of the higher purpose of the communication itself.
Mr. Jam, why is conscious communication especially critical in today's polarized, disrupted world?
Yes, it's such a good point. With the political agenda and the algorithmic incentives that are driven through social media to get clickbait and get people grab their attention and keep them staring at their screens, people have become very polarized, like you said, and people are shouting at each other, across Twitter or X or whatever platforms they're on. They're just shouting at each other, and the communication has deteriorated. And if we want to solve the world's biggest problems for humanity, like pandemics or inequality, things like this, if we want to solve these problems, we need to be able to work together, yeah, and come up with solutions together. So we need to be able to communicate.
Indeed, communication is the key to success. You emphasize internal work. Why must we understand our own triggers, biases, and communication patterns before effectively engaging others?
Well, because when we're not aware of our internal triggers, when we're not aware of our biases or our confirmation bias, for example, then we can be just perpetually defending our point of view without listening and seeking to understand what the other person's actually trying to say. It doesn't mean we always need to agree with each other, but when we seek to understand, we communicate more effectively.
Totally agree with you, Mr. Jam. How does conscious communication transcend mere skills like active listening or to become a way of being?
Well, the journey to becoming more conscious in your communication is an inward journey. And I believe the place to start is with your relationship with self. So, what is the communication like in your internal world? That voice that is always perpetually narrating our experience of existence. How is the quality of that communication with yourself? Quite often it's pretty poor, it's not very good. And this then, in turn, determines the quality of our relationship with ourselves. If we don't have a great relationship with ourselves, our relationship with life and those around us is impeded by this. So, the journey to more conscious communication actually can become quite a spiritual inquiry. It can become quite a journey of understanding yourself, your place within life, and your relationship with others.
What happens in that intentional pause before responding, and why it is foundational to conscious dialogue?
Well, we only really exist in relationship with with others and life around us. That's how we know ourselves and how we exist in this relationship. And for us to exist in relationship, there needs to be some connection, right? We need to connect not with everybody, but we need to understand ourselves through relationship. And for us to connect, we have to be able to communicate. Communication actually underpins our ability to be effective in every aspect of life. I mean, even when you don't think about relationships, even for you to have an idea and manifest that idea into reality, if you can't communicate the idea, then it's never going to be able to materialize. Albert Einstein could have had all of his genius understandings of the theory of relativity, but if he couldn't communicate them, then they wouldn't have helped the world at all. So even if it's just an idea into reality, or whether it's to harness the power of diversity and have different people in the room and be able to broaden our range of creative problem solving bandwidth, we need to be able to do that only through communication. So, yeah, it is fundamental.
Mr. Jem, let's talk about professional and personal applications. How can leaders model conscious communication to foster psychological safety, innovation, and reduce misunderstandings?
Yeah, it's such a great question. When a leader can be more conscious, that means they're more aware of themselves and how they're communicating. They're more aware of the people in the room, the people who they're hoping will understand what they're trying to communicate. And the more aware you are, the more you can adjust your delivery so that it has a better chance of landing effectively. And we can go into a lot of nuance about this. You might be communicating with someone in your team and you know their behavioral style, their waking and sleeping patterns when they're more attentive and when they're a little bit more drowsy. Their love languages, say, well, how do they feel appreciated and significant? When you're more conscious of the person you're speaking with, then you can adjust your delivery so that they can understand you more easily. Some people are naturally wired to do big picture, and they don't want too much detail, they just want the bullet points. Whereas some people are way more detail focused and they want you to spend the time and go through everything with them. If you're communicating to the wrong person in the wrong way, so just say someone's big picture and they just want the bullet points, and I'm sitting there going through every single little bit of detail with them, I've lost them. They're sitting there, they're thinking about dinner, they're thinking about what they're going to do in the next meeting. I've lost them. Now I'm not communicating very well, right? Or
Yes.
if I'm communicating with someone who prefers to slow down and go through all of the detail chronologically, if I just come in and go, right, this is what we're doing, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, off you go, make it happen, and I leave, they're sitting there shaking their head going, what? I missed all of that. So the more conscious a leader is, the more effectively they can lead a team, and the team knows what's going on and they can say, right, yeah, let's go.
Well, indeed, very well said, Mr. Jam. Beautifully articulated. What's your framework for navigating high stakes talks like feedback, negotiations, or apologies with clarity and compassion?
I think one of the most effective abilities to develop is the ability to not take things personally.
True.
If someone's coming to give you feedback and you are feeling like you are being personally attacked, you get defensive, all of the wrong hormones are released in your body. You're not hearing them. You're just on
Just
the defense, right? You're ready to just rebut and justify your behavior and explain why you did it that way, or prove to them that you were right, you're not in a really good place to be able to receive feedback. And feedback is essential for us to learn and improve and grow in anything that we do. If we're not receiving any feedback from the environment around us, we're never going to improve, right? And improvement, I believe improvement is a part of the essence of life. I mean, life evolves. Yes, you look back over history and life is evolving, it's growing and adapting and learning and changing. And so I think it's part of the meaning of life is to evolve and hopefully get a little bit better at things, right? If we don't have access to feedback, how do we know what to improve? So we should be developing the ability to listen, be less defensive, not take it personally, and find out what can I learn in this moment that will help me be more effective in the next moment.
Mr. Jam, again, beautifully articulated. Very well said. How does communicating consciously with ourselves impact our external interactions?
Well, think about it like this, right? The quality of your mind very much affects the quality of your experience of life. So if you think about um, your state of mind on a given particular day, if your internal world is not very good, maybe there's a lot of noise in there, or that you're feeling really angry or upset, because of something that's happened, or you're feeling really negative or down on yourself in your mind, when you walk outside into the world that day, the people that you meet, the interactions that you have, your experience of driving your car in the traffic, or your experience of waiting in the cafe for your coffee, all of those experiences are flavored by the state of your internal world, right? You meet angry people, you get stuck in the traffic, your coffee is cold, everything seems to go wrong, right? This is
Yes.
because of your state of mind. Now, you, the quality of your state of mind is the quality of your relationship with yourself, right? This is what's going on inside your mind and your body. If your relationship with yourself, which is your relationship with the past, is still unresolved, if there are still traumas and triggers and negative self-talk, etc., this is creating not a very clear, clean internal world in this present moment. So this is going to affect your relationships, it's going to affect your experience of walking through life. So when you can cultivate an internal world of more peace, more acceptance, more self-love, self compassion, when you create a more gentle world inside, you experience a more beautiful world outside. Yes, it makes
Yes.
sense, doesn't it?
Makes sense, Mr. Jam. But before we continue our discussion for today, I want to shout out my ranking tops for the last 30 days because in Mali, I got number 9 on the Apple charts. United Arab Emirates, El Salvador, Uruguay, Canada, Slovenia, Macedonia, South Africa, and many more. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast because this podcast is created to empower writers, authors, all over the world, and to all my 154 countries listening to this podcast. Thank you so much for supporting me. And please do continue supporting so that I will bring you the most and most empowering people all over the world. Mr. Jam, what's one deceptively simple practice from the book that significantly changes communication dynamics?
One deceivingly simple practice is the practice of pausing. Pause. When someone says something, before you react, pause, breathe, and then choose how to respond. Now you can develop this ability to pause by creating pause moments throughout your day. So you want to create the new habit of pausing and associate it with an existing habit. So, for example, we brush our teeth every day, yes? Usually
Yes.
twice a day, I hope, right? So, you get a little sticky note and you stick it next to the toothbrush in the bathroom and it says pause. So, before you go to brush your teeth, pause, take some deep breaths, and then continue. Or put it next to the kettle. If you like to make a cup of tea or coffee, put a little sticky note there that says pause. So before you make your coffee in the morning, you pause.
Pause.
You can also put it on the inside of your front door. So before you leave the house, you pause. This deceptively simple habit can actually really change the quality of your life and your ability to communicate.
And pause. Awesome. Again, I like that tip. Mr. Jen, empowering, empowering too. What happens in the intentional pause before responding and why it is foundational to conscious dialogue?
When you pause and just notice what you can notice, notice what you're about to say. Don't say it yet, just pause. Then you'll become aware that there's actually options. You actually have choices on how you choose to respond. You can choose to say something or not. You can choose to say it the way you were going to say it, or you could choose to slightly adjust your delivery. You could choose to adjust your tonality. You know, maybe you were about to react very defensively, but when you
Hmm.
pause and breathe, maybe you can soften a little bit when in the tone of your response. So creating the pause moment gives you the opportunity to increase awareness, increase consciousness. In that pause moment, you can become more conscious because you can become more aware of yourself, of the others, of the situation. And then you have options on how to respond.
Pause. Yes, indeed. Mr. Jam, as an author and a conscious communication coach leadership, what are your short term and long term goals?
My short term goals are for someone who's listening to go and get this book. You can either get
Yes.
the physical copy or the audio copy. And because the reason I want you to get the book is not for me, it's for you because I know it will help you create the life that you want. So that's my short term goal. My long term goal is actually more altruistic. We have formed our non-profit based out of America, and we are building the Center of Love is a non-profit meditation retreat center in the Himalayan mountains in India. And this retreat center will provide access to education for children in villages who live in poverty. And we are currently raising money to build the Center of Love in India.
Well, Mr. Jam, my Book 101 Review Foundation, helping less fortunate children. I want to cooperate with you. I hope Book 101 Review will help the less fortunate people in India. And looking forward for more success to your goals and good luck to it. And what is your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a coach and to be an author like you?
If that's your dream, just follow the breadcrumbs, follow what excites you, follow your natural talents, and find a way to serve others.
Yes, give back, people. Give back. Because life is too short, as they say. And beyond resolving conflict, what unexpected benefits does mastering this art deliver?
Well, really, it is the the foundation of the quality of your life because we know from research that the quality of your life, how good your life is directly correlated to the quality of your relationships. How good are your relationships with your loved ones, with your community, with your work people? So when your relationships are flourishing and thriving and happy, so is your life, right? So, how do you get your relationships flourishing and thriving? Through better communication.
Yes, indeed. Number one key ingredients to success: communication. Communications. And Mr. Jam, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and book 101 review in fifth season as well. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in its fifth season too. Geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101 and Low 101. Now, my love letters in third season, and movie 101 review, and music 101 in its fourth season. Science 101 and sex 101 is in first season, and please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. Mr. Jam, if you could leave readers with one daily practice to start embodying conscious communication today, what would it be?
Mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness, meditation indeed. Mr. Jem Fuller, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, hoping for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, and your book itself?
Yes, please come and join in the conversation. That'd be great. Gemfuller.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Jem Fuller because if you support him, as I said, more and more and more empowering coaching to come, more and more and more empowering books to come. So, Mr. Jem, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.